Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Cheese Room, especially if you're from Manchester and your name is Andy. We are delighted to be live tonight, and I've got a stellar lineup of guests for you. Joining me all the way from Vienna, as ever, is the Harlem Globetrotter. How are you feeling, HG? It's got to be good, right?
Yeah, it does feel pretty good. I've been wearing this beauty all day today, and a number of kids were looking at me like I was crazy, but no, it's all right. Life's good. We won our first game of the season, so 38 wins is still possible.
Absolutely. What's your favourite Charlie Kane joke today you've seen?
Charlie Kane himself is the joke, surely. He doesn't need to be doing anything, it's just him. But
I found one. Charlie Kane's the sort of guy that is the reason that they put "do not eat" in those silica gel packets they put in clothes.
I like that. I really like that. And Brendan, how are you? Still in the UK, and it was great to see you at the game, mate. Absolutely fantastic. In fact, I think you might be a lucky charm. Not the cereal variety either.
2 wins. Well, I'm Irish. 2 wins. Two at the new stadium. 2 wins. Great to see you too. And you, Shannon. What a day. My voice is slowly coming back. Amazing atmosphere. We'll crack into it, I'm sure. But just a special day to be at, and looking forward to picking it apart.
Yeah. My voice is just about come back enough to do this podcast, but I've been a bit croaky all day at work. Joining us from a car park, not sure what she's doing there or if she's flashed her lights 3 times yet, is Shannon. How you doing, Shan? You all right?
Jesus, serious?
Yeah, I'm good. The story is I've been forced to come to Skegness with my mum, my sister, and my niece and nephew. And the caravan is literally in the middle of nowhere. There's no signal. There's no internet. But after yesterday, I could not miss the show. So I'm in a car park by a restaurant that had no food. So I had to drive around Skegness for 2 hours to find a McDonald's. So at this point, if it weren't for yesterday, I'd been in a pretty crap mood. So yeah, it's kept my spirits up there just about.
But you're at the stadium yesterday, first game. You must be on top of the world today.
I told my other half it was better than when he proposed to me, and it was the best day of my life. He's not spoken
where
to
you
me
were going
today,
with that for a minute, but yeah, okay. Dave, how are we doing? You all right? How is Australia? Bright and early?
Yeah, no, it's great, thanks. I think I could see Phil Mitchell tapping on your car window there, Shannon. Sorry. No, I'm really well. I've just finishing off. I've sent a present to Man Candy. I've ordered him a parrot. It's going to be delivered to Cheshire, and I've taught him to say 2008, 2008. So I'm all good, thank you.
Oh my God, Shannon's lights are out now. This is like getting worse and worse and worse. Shannon, I must say the level of commitment is absolutely amazing that you're doing this from a car in Skegness. So, you know, that is commitment to the Cheese Room. Weirdly, your lighting's better than when you're at home, actually, right this moment. So, you know, maybe we just need to broadcast in the car every week. So, look, I think we're all in a very good mood. I'm sure Manchester isn't right now. HG, what were your initial thoughts on the game? You must be absolutely buzzing. We played off the park, didn't we?
Playing them off the park's a bit strong, but it's been so long since I've seen Tottenham seem to have a plan. We knew what we wanted to do, and we tried to do it, and we did it with gusto. We weren't just waiting, and we weren't nervous. If we had a chance to break, we sent 3 or 4 forward at every opportunity. So it was a bit like a basketball match the first 15 minutes of the second half, but once we got the goal, it gave us something to hold on to, and it was just nice to watch Spurs really have a go. And it sounds crazy because that is what we should be doing, but for the last 18 months, 2 years, it was just very boring and side to side, and we were much more, back to front as quick as possible.
Mm. And Brent, did the opening 15 minutes give you a bit of a scare like it did me? Because we were on the ropes a little bit, weren't we? And they missed a couple of good chances. Were you a bit worried? I think Mahrez missed a volley straight across, or it's certainly a squared ball to him, I think, straight across the goal. Were you a little bit worried by that opening salvo? Did you think, here we go again?
A little bit, but we played City at home before. We're kind of used to sort of knowing that they're gonna dominate possession. We're gonna have to soak it up. But I don't think we did that after that first 15 minutes. We did sort of just put our foot on the ball. It wasn't great attacking stuff for like 5-10 minutes. It's just like, right, lads, let's hold the ball. They passed it around the defence for a little bit and just got us into the game slowly that way. So that first 15 minutes, you kind of knew what would happen. It was good to see that crunching tackle from Tanganga on Sterling right at the start to set the tone for him. I thought had a fantastic game, a man of the match for me without question. So I'm glad that we grew into the game, and Man City kind of stepped off a bit. They kind of ran out of ideas, and I'm not saying it was comfortable after they could have equalised, they could have even won it, but it was just good to see us not revert back to how we used to be, to be able to play ourselves out and play into the game. Yeah,
absolutely. Shan, who stood out for you the most? Tanganga got man of the match, didn't he? I thought he had a very good game at right back. I mean, he had Grealish and Sterling in his pocket along with his car keys at the end of the game. What were your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he was brilliant. He's the obvious standout, I think, but there's so many that you could mention as standout after that. Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer, I thought the words would never come out of my mouth, but they were brilliant. Lucas was brilliant. Sonny obviously was his usual self. I mean, I do think he was actually a little bit wasteful with the chances he had, but he scored us the winning goal, so that's what matters. Obviously, against it, he always was going to. Yeah, Steven Bergwijn, if he could score, would have been brilliant. Dele was all over the place in a good way. Yeah, it was brilliant to watch. And Giovanni Lo Celso when he came on, and that tackle on Kevin De Bruyne right at the end as well. It was like a goal. The noise in the stadium when he did that was brilliant.
Yeah, well, we've just seen it all before with Spurs, haven't we? Do all the hard work and then undo it last minute. So watching him do that was excellent. Dave, what did you make of Skip? I mean, it was the first. I'm not sure if I'm right in saying this, but it's the first Premier League 90 minutes I think he's played for us. Unless anyone wants to correct me. What did you think of the lad? He's obviously gone out on loan, looks a fantastic addition to our midfield. It's like having a new signing, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought he had a great game. I mean, he has played in the Premiership before. I'm pretty sure he played Burnley away, and I'm pretty sure he might have even played Burnley at home at Wembley. I think within that first 15 minutes, which Brendan was talking about, I was sitting here very anxious as to how all this was going to go. And he looked little bit nervy, and he did that foul on the edge of the box, which, he could have been maybe given a penalty, but it was just outside the box. But he grew into the game. And I think him and Højbjerg were fantastic. They were all over the place. And as you know, I do question ENIC's transfer policy. So I do want to know why we haven't investigated these two new centre-backs that we seem to have bought on the weekends, because they were just amazing. Who were they?
Well, I'm going to come on to that. Brendan, let's go to you. Sanchez and Dyer. I don't think anyone here is a particular fan of either players. They looked completely different Sunday. What happened? What happened?
Yeah, it's amazing what a bit of coaching can do. I think there is a defender in Sanchez. He's just come back from the Copa America with probably a bit more confidence. Having that break, like quite a long break, not just like an international break, but a tournament break, may have helped him. May have helped him build up that confidence, playing alongside Yerry Mina, who's a very different defender to who he is. So I think that was probably refreshing for Sanchez. I'd probably like to see him stay. I think that him and
so fickle.
No. I've said this all along. Him and the new guy, Christian Romero, they're our future pairing. I don't think we need to bring in another marquee centre-back. I think we've got enough there in Sanchez with the right coaching for a solid centre-back pairing. And Eric Dyer, again, didn't put a foot wrong either. So, yeah, it was great to see. They were colossal. There were nervous moments, of course, throughout the game, but it was good. They didn't put a foot wrong. None of the defence did. Reggie was probably the quietest of the four. But even then, that's probably being harsh on him. He was defending more than he's used to. But yeah, no, the centre back pairing were great. They were colossal, and the atmosphere around it, awesome.
Shannon, would you sell them now, Dyer or Sanchez? Because I think one of them was probably on the way out before that game, possibly. Do you think we should now retain their services, or add to the defence rather than taking away?
I mean, it's interesting you would say that. I've always said I don't think Eric Dyer will go anywhere. Ever since he come out and said he wants his ashes scattered in the stadium, I think that's it. He's just going to be there forever. I don't think we should be selling Sanchez after that. And I'm really guilty because the minute I got FIFA last year, the first thing I did was sell Sanchez. That's how scared he makes me. I didn't even want him like fictionally either. But yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. And if he can stay consistent, I think if he can stay consistent this season, then we should keep him. I think he's definitely earned himself another chance. I think if any centre-back's probably going to go, it's going to be Rodon. I really don't know what's going on there. It's strange. Really strange.
Thoughts on Joe Rodon, panel? Has anyone got to say? I mean, would you, if we're going to sell one of our centre-backs that we've got, I'll just quickly go around a short answer, please. HG, who would you sell?
If we're selling one, it's Rodon. Absolutely. He'll probably bring the most money in. I do think in a weird way that Rodon and Sanchez might go, as crazy as that sounds, if we really are looking to reshape the squad completely, because Sanchez was wanted by Sevilla. So I don't know, but yeah, Rodon would be the one. Absolutely.
Bren?
Yeah, it's tough because Rodon was the darling of the Euros.
Well, from a Welsh perspective.
Sorry?
Maybe from a Welsh perspective. I don't think I can stand over him being called the darling of the Euros.
Well, the darling of the valleys then. Like I thought he was quite solid through the Euros. And he's quite similar to Dyer maybe, and that he's heart and muscle and all muscle and little brain maybe. I don't know. I've not seen enough of Rodon to fully judge him, but it's strange. Like Mason didn't fancy him. Mourinho was very hesitant to use him a lot. So maybe they know more than we do. They're their managers. So probably Rodon as well, which is strange to say.
Do you think Jose knows more than you, Dave?
Jose Mourinho? I'd say lots of people know lots more than me. But, Mason...
That's very kind, Dave. Thank you.
He said for you. Mason didn't like Rodon because he was going on holiday with Eric Dyer and family. So I think that's just Mason just picked his mates. It was interesting when Romero came on at the end. They did go to three centre backs. So you might need to have a kind of a lot of centre backs in the squad. So when he is playing three at the back, so I'd keep him. I still don't rate Sanchez. Sorry. He had a great game. He was amazing, but that's one game. Let's see. If Nuno can turn him around, just like Poch did with Rose and Walker and Dyer and many other players, then who knows? We may have a player on our hands.
And Bob Spurs just, HG, where does the Man City money come from? We appreciate your super chat, Bob. Where does the Man City... And just don't be racist with your answer, please.
Look, before I tell you the answer... Can I just say that the media and Manchester United didn't have to put up with this rubbish? I don't know why we're even asking the question. It's even racist to ask the question. Where do Man City get? Where does anyone get their money from? Unbelievable. Yeah, we don't know. Of course, we all know. But apart from him, Mr. Andy, yeah, it's interesting. But they haven't got enough to buy Kane, so maybe there's a problem there.
It's always a good feeling when you beat the UAE. Shan, Bergwijn missed another gilt-edged chance, didn't he? I mean, literally, the guy has just not got shooting boots, has he? You were behind the goal. I was slightly to the right of the goal, and I thought it was a terrible waste of a chance. That could have wrapped the points up, couldn't it? What does Bergwijn have to do to finish? I mean, goodness gracious me, he's. Do we persist with him or do we look to try and bring someone new in? What's your thoughts?
I don't know if the problem is that he just runs into the box too quickly. And then by the time he realises that he's there, you've got a goalkeeper closing him down. So it makes it really difficult, a really difficult angle for him to shoot. So, yeah, I think he just needs to calm down and take his time a little bit more. He had time to take. If he'd have just stopped, composed himself and then took the shot, it's because I'm in the car. I'm a bit like, what's going on around me? There's cars and they're coming towards me. And I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, If he just took the time to compose himself and then pick somewhere in the net, it would have gone in. But I think he was trying to do everything too quickly, and then by the time he realised he was there, obviously the goalkeeper had already closed him down. So I think it's really tough with Bergwijn. I think he's a bit like Delhi. He needs a run of games, see where we are in January. I think if he's not scored by January and he's had a consistent run, then we've got a bit of a problem.
So it sounds a lot like Lamella, doesn't it? Give him another 6 years, we might see the best of him. Runs around a lot.
6 months.
How come he only gets 6 months? I don't understand.
Are you a fan, HG?
I've always been a fan of Bergwijn. Yeah, I love what he does. Like, I think he's an intelligent footballer. I think he makes intelligent runs. I think he knows how to use the ball. And yeah, finishing is a problem, and that is a massive problem for someone who plays the role he does. But everything else screams quality to me. Like maybe I'll be proved wrong and he'll go within 6 to 12 months. But I think Bergwijn is a quality player who can play all across the line. He likes to play on the left, but he's played on the right for Spurs before. He's a team player. I think he's quality. And one chance. It was a difficult chance. He obviously knew how important the chance was when it didn't go in. But it's a bit harsh to be thinking about selling him just on that.
Oh, it wasn't that a difficult chance. I'm sorry. He could have bent it round. A bit of curl on there. Like, come on. It wasn't a difficult chance.
You'd have had that in, wouldn't you, Bren?
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You almost went ultra Irish when
totally.
I was
Totally. It was such a big chance, and I watched it. I was like, I pray we don't regret him missing that. I think at the time I said we are going to regret him missing that.
Yeah, I said exactly the same.
Thank God we didn't, and he'll get the chances. He'll put them away. It was such a good chance though that he had the space. It was a mistake from their defenders. I think it ricocheted between the two and fell to him. And you're like, come on, just do it. But thankfully it wasn't necessary.
Absolutely. Dave, Mora, what I thought, I'm not Lucas's biggest fan. It's fair to say. I think he's the Brazilian Lamella, but he has really impressed me in pre-season. And that last game, I thought he was in with a shout of man of the match. I thought he was fantastic. There was one bit where he just drove through the whole of the midfield, past about 3 or 4 people. I'm going to come to you, Brendan. I know you'll have something to say about Lucas. But Dave, could he be fundamental to our success this season if he stays fit and in the team?
Well, obviously, when the time does come that Mora leaves the club, which may not be now, he's obviously going to become Brendan's new mate after Sandro. So I thought he had a fantastic game. I think Pete Mora, leaving aside the one night in Amsterdam, was that start of that season. If you remember when we went to Man United away, and I think we won about 3-0, and Jose was in charge, and he broke away, and I think he got 2 goals, and he was playing. That start of that season, he was playing with a lot of purpose down the middle, and he was getting a few goals in. So Monday, wherever we are, he had a fantastic game. He was everywhere. I mean, there were a couple of times where he did the old running into a blind spot or the pass wasn't right, but he addressed quite a lot of that in the rest of his game, and he played really well. So I think that he could have a new lease of life under Nuno. He was fantastic, he was. I had him down as possibly one of the three of Lamella, Bergwijn, Mora, Ellie, even who could go, but I don't think so. I think he had a great game.
Bren, I know you're a fan.
No, he played excellently. I was impressed. It was typical Mora and Lucas in that he did run into a few dead ends, but his running it just eased the pressure on the defense, and it panicked them. Like, he was so important to how he set up yesterday. The runs he was making were just superb. So yeah, was very happy to see Lucas stretch them and ease off, because this is Man City. We know that they've got so much in their midfield. So to be able to put them on the back foot, as I said, just ease the pressure on the defence. So fair play to Mora. Vamos, meu filho.
Terrific player. What did you say?
So come on, my son.
Oh, okay. More fitting for Sonny, really, but we'll come to that in a minute. It's a good question here. Paul Muir, shout out, Paul. We love you very much. Shan, would it have been a mistake to let Yafit go out on loan? I think we probably know the answer to that after yesterday's performance, but I suppose building on to that question, do we now need a right back, or are we happy with what we've got? Because, I mean, if he can play like that every week, then there's absolutely no reason why we need to buy a right back, surely. In fact, we still need to sell Aurier, just for the record.
Yeah. I think, yes, it would be a massive mistake to let him go because he's our best right back. And we also do need to get in another right back because his injury record so far isn't great. And the thought of Doherty or Serge playing at right back absolutely terrifies me. It might be if Tanganga got injured, we'd have to go to a back three and play with wing backs. So we could change our system a little bit. But I still think we need another strong right back just in case, just to cover Jaffet. He can't play every single game. He's going to need to be rested. And we saw that yesterday. He was taken off the precaution, so we need to look after him to make sure he stays fit. And when Doherty came on, it's almost like a Sissoko sub to me. When Doherty came on, I was thinking, oh, God, please just don't attack him, please. But luckily we were all right. Everyone did their part in those final minutes, so it wasn't a problem in the end. But yeah, to answer the question, yes, it would be a massive mistake, and yes, we need another right back.
Yeah, 90 people watching. Smash that like button. Let's get the numbers up. HG, what your view? Is Tanganga the long-term solution at right back, do you think?
Well, he's one of them. I mean, I don't want to have just one that's really good. Like Tanganga played really well. There's clear that there's some flaws to his game because he spent most of his academy career playing at centre half, so he wasn't supposed to be going forward with the ball. And we've seen him struggle in that area. So it would be nice to have Tanganga if you wanted to play a bit more defensively, if you wanted to keep it tight at the back. But I think we still need someone that has skills going forward. Aurier has shown that at times, but he's not the future, so he should go. Doherty has only really shown it in a back three, which we may not play. So I think there's a chance that, again, in a perfect world, you might let both of them go and look to get a real attacking right back who can maybe play those games where we're going to be dominating, and we might need some thrust from that position. But Jaffet was amazing. And yeah, if there's anyone who thinks Jaffet should go on loan after that, they're probably racist, aren't they? It's... Yeah, I know. So I just think that it will be Jaffet +1, but Jaffet may well be the one who doesn't play as much, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
One thing I loved about yesterday, was the reception he got when he was subbed. Like, as he had to walk off at the closest point to the pitch that he was, if that makes sense. And so he had to walk around and pass the south stand with the one stand, and the reception he got, that he's one of our own, Jaffet Tanganga, and it works better than Harry Kane, like, because you have to go Harry Kane. You have to add a syllable to Kane. Jaffet Tanganga, he's one of our own.
But it's only done slowly so that Kane can understand us, right?
How quickly can we turn? I mean, crikey, we're gonna talk.
Oh yeah, I'm not turning on his intelligence. I've never really thought he had that, if I'm honest. But yeah.
You're right there, Shannon. You're looking around. You just scoping out what's about.
Yeah, I keep getting really nervous because there's trees and bushes over there, and I'm sat here, and I've got all the lights on.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, no, they're all right. So far, so good.
Good. Well, while we're in the clear, let me ask you a question. Son looked comfortable through the middle, didn't he? He looked really comfortable. He tried that goal 2 or 3 times before it came off that strike. And that's kind of his trademark, isn't it? Cuts inside, quite wide. Teams can't defend. It must be incredibly difficult to defend because he does it, with great regularity. But cuts inside, bottom corner or top corner. What do you think is going to be his position going forward this season? Can you see him continuing in the middle, or do you think he will be utilised on the flanks?
Who's that for?
Shannon. Sorry. Did you hear me, Shannon?
Is she frozen?
For me?
Yeah.
He didn't say a name caller. We were all there in silence.
Yeah,
I did. I said Shannon.
Oh.
But she's having a few connection issues. So Shannon, just come back in a sec. Dave, you
right,
can take that one.
You okay, Shannon?
You go, Dave.
You, Dave.
Right.
You go, Dave.
Okay.
You go.
Look, I think he had a great game. And
Can
obviously
you hear me
that's how
now?
they've utilised.
Yeah.
He had a good game. That's how he's been utilised during the pre-season. But the fact is that the issue that we will have is that if we want to keep possession up top, and we want more of a striker who's going to keep the ball up top to take some pressure off the rest of the team, he's not really the person to do that. So I do think in the long run, it's going to be better to get a strike. We need to get at least one striker in, regardless of whether Kane goes or not, who will be bought to play with Son or with Kane. Who knows? But we definitely need another striker, at least one.
HG, what's your take on it? I'm just going to mute you, Brendan, because I can hear you rustling. What's your take on it?
No, I agree with everything that Dave just said. Like, one striker is never enough. Son has never really been a central striker. Certainly, for a lot of his career, he hasn't played that role. We're going to need another focal point. Weirdly enough, against City, we were probably better without having that focal point. I think that really helped us. They weren't so. I mean, this is a different style of play. Like, some would go up for headers like Kane would, but because there were two runners either side, it seemed to scare City a bit more. I think that Kane, if he does stay, which I'm not sure he will, but if he does stay, we still need someone else. And it would be nice to have someone to let's say to have the season to kind of learn things from Kane before Kane goes if he went next year. But I definitely feel that we did it with Vinicius last year. He didn't play very often, but we just need a number and hopefully a good one, because I still believe that there are decent strikers around that can fulfill that role. Shannon,
are you back with us? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. So my question for you is Nuno, early days for sure, one game in. What do you think of him so far? I mean, we've seen him in pre-season, but how do you think he's handled everything? He's had a lot to deal with, hasn't he? A lot of comings and goings, working for a couple of new bosses. By the way, Paratici was amazing at the weekend. We'll come on to that as well. What's your thoughts on Nuno? For me, he's been a breath of fresh air.
I think he's handled everything with a lot of class, unlike others. He's
leave Andy out of
it. Yeah, no, he's been absolutely brilliant. And after yesterday, seeing how he scored, celebrated when we scored, was just brilliant. He just loves it. I think he's just so happy to be here. And I think that it's similar to Pochettino in a way. Like, Jose sort of felt like, oh well, I'm bigger. I feel like he felt like he was bigger than Spurs, so it didn't really matter to him. Whereas with Nuno, he's so grateful to have been given the opportunity to obviously manage Spurs and to come to us. And you can really tell, like, just everything about yesterday was completely different to what we've become used to. Like, previously, it was just he's done in a short amount of time. He's done such a good job, and I think yes, it's only been one competitive game, but we were feeling positive from pre-season. Like, we've seen a clear plan, and we've seen clearly what he was trying to do. So yeah, it just feels good to have a coach that can like manage during the game as well. Like, the subs he made tended to make sense, and you could understand why he did it. Yeah, it's just a breath of fresh air, like you say. He's doing a really good job so far.
Bren, you a happy man?
Yeah, well, one thing I noticed about yesterday was that we finished quite strong, that we were bringing the game to, like, if this was Jose, we would be parked on the edge of our box for like the last 20 minutes. Like, we'd go. And I think that's the difference. People seem to think that Nuno may be very similar to Jose because he played under him when he was manager at Porto, and obviously Nuno was manager of Porto as well. But they've got contrasting styles. Nuno really values fitness, so that he likes to finish strongly. As we saw when we played Wolves last season, we were 1-0 up. A typical Jose game, wasn't it? Go 1-0 up, last 5-10 minutes, they get the equaliser that they probably didn't deserve, but because we sat back and let them come on. Anyway, we're hashing out. But so, yeah, other than the sort of the happy smiles and claps and everything like that, the actual game management was spot on, and the substitutions. I was a bit worried with Doherty coming on. I'll be honest. It was good for Romero to get some minutes into him. I think Højbjerg was probably overplaying his injury a bit. He said he had a bit of cramp, and maybe he played the long Euros. But yeah, so far so good from Nuno. He's like Shannon said, class. I think that has what's come through. We've got a manager that is respectful, that has an understanding of how you talk about the game, how you talk about our team and other teams and other players. So far so good with Nuno.
Dave, we've got Wolves next week. We've got another Dave joining us for that preview from Talking Wolves. So I look forward to that. Hopefully he'll have slightly more decorum than Andy. Would you say with where we're at following that game, you have to stick with the same side, or would you twist and do something a little bit different? What do you think will be as counter-attacking, or do you think we'll seek to dominate a little bit more? In obviously what is a very important game for Nuno as his homecoming, in effect.
I think that he'll play. I think Nuno will play it like an away game that he normally would play, in terms of kind of hitting them on the counter, soaking up the pressure, but in a more advanced, progressive way than Mourinho. I mean, to me, yesterday, and obviously I'm watching it from thousands of miles away, it felt like the whole thing was like a catharsis for all Tottenham fans in the stadium around the world after, the Mourinho era, which I still say wasn't all that bad. And you had, obviously everything in the awfulness of COVID, which has gone around the world, and everyone back in the stadium together, singing the songs, that communal feeling of being together, and then seeing a team that was full of spirit, of the, psychologically our best player and childhood person who's been at the club for a long time wants to be out the whole summer, and for everyone to be in the stadium and sing the songs and wave the flag. I wish I'd have been there myself. But I think they brought the feel good factor of it, and what I really liked, and I think what started everything, was that Tanganga Channel tackle when he clattered into Grealish or Sterling. And I think that really put the mood in. It was like an old-fashioned Graham Roberts tackle, which obviously you guys wouldn't remember.
Well, I know Graham Roberts. He's been on the show, hasn't he? So,
Well, yeah. And so it's like, that's what it was to me yesterday. So we're all walking around smiling, and we've all got the feel-good factor back.
Very good. I mean, you are quite monotone with that, so I'm not sure the feel-good factor is truly back in Australia. But,
hang on. The comment.
Is that your excited voice?
No. The comment last week was 2 out of the other 4 guests on here are very monotonal and depressing. And when I read that, I thought to myself, I am the mayor of monotonal land. Wait till you hear me. So whoever
I actually thought, how the fuck did Dave get away with that one?
I've been monotonal for years. This is excited.
Brilliant. And I can see you've been tampering with my run sheet. I'm gonna read this out because what I did was give access to the presenters so they could add bits to the run sheet. Unless this, of course, is you writing this, HG. So we're going to move on and talk about Mr. Kane. So now, no doubt, our resident Viennese academic, Professor HG, is familiar with the popular tom, The Selfish Gene, by ethiologist Richard Dawkins, in which the author builds upon the principal theory of George C. Williams' adaptation and natural selection. Which begs the question, Professor HG, does Harry Kane have the selfish gene?
What, the selfish gene where he and his
Firstly,
brother...
which one of you wrote that?
Well, it's Dave, clearly.
Yeah.
The selfish gene where like siblings or brothers tend to act like each other, isn't that the selfish gene? I don't think it's about being selfish.
I've got to interrupt to say, Bob Spur's got an absolute point. There's over 100 people watching and 32 likes. What are you all doing with your hands? I know what you need to do with your hand. Use that hand to hit that like button right now. Please do. Let's get us up there. We can get more people watching if you hit the like button. Please do. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. HG.
P.S. Please do not tell us what you're doing with your hand. Please keep.
Well,
unless you want to send in super chat with what you're doing with your hands, we'll read it out. We'll be forced to read it out. HG.
I'm very confused. Okay, so like to do with the selfish gene, yeah, I don't know what you're getting at, because Harry Kane may be selfish, but the selfish gene isn't about being selfish. So I'm a bit confused. Yeah, well, what else did you just say? I don't know. You confused me completely, caller. So yeah, back to you.
Basically. Oh, Franco, go do something with yourself.
It's our OnlyFans. We're starting our OnlyFans on YouTube.
OnlyFans, yeah, absolutely. And if you want to be a patron, we'll stick detail. It's the closest thing you'll get to OnlyFans Cheese Room Star. The details are below on the ticker. I'm completely lost as well. Kane, no social media done. Dave, I mean, you don't do social media at any point, so you're probably the wrong person to ask this. But is that a telling thing from him? So normally, just to let you know, there's this thing called Twitter and Instagram, and all the players have accounts. And normally, after a game, even if they're not playing, they just sort of say to them, oh, great win today, important 3 points, well done the boys, coys or something, yeah? Kane, nothing, zip, just his statement left on there, nothing. What do you think about that? Does that say something?
So social media, yeah. Are we all still on Friends Reunited? Is that still going? Yeah.
MySpace now.
MySpace. Is it? We're on MySpace. Fantastic. Look, Kane wants to leave. And my point, my hackneyed question to the professor in Vienna around the selfish gene was a comment that you put on the Patreon chat this week, that Kane is selfish. He's a selfish individual. And my argument is a striker, a football team, generally speaking, the striker is the most selfish individual, because it's that single-mindedness will get in the goals. And if you see an example of selfish play, it's always going to be about a striker. And that was my point about Harry Kane.
Okay.
Now
I do think that Harry Kane is selfish in that way, but he still works within a team, right? Like Harry Kane, he doesn't write the theme tune, sing the theme tune, and do it all himself. He needs other players to make him look better. And if Kane is basically saying that, I'm bigger than you lot and I want to go somewhere else, he can think that. But I don't like selfish people, and that to me is a very selfish thing to do. If he thinks it's only about Harry Kane, I can understand Harry Kane wanting the best for Harry Kane, and if that is leaving Spurs to go to Man City, then fair enough. But you don't need to burn your bridges. The fact that he seems to think that it's perfectly fine to do what he's doing, well, clearly lots of people disagree with that, and they would rather that he just went about it honestly and openly, which he hasn't actually done. He's not said really what he wants. He's just hoping that we all figure it out because, we're all as dumb as his family is. I don't know. Look, Harry Kane can be selfish on the pitch, no problem. But as a person in a team game, doesn't work.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of examples of sporting teams over the years that have had more selfish individuals than other and been successful. If you look at Man United, you wouldn't say that Ronaldo was probably the biggest team player of all time. And you look at even in cricket,
but Ronaldo is a great player, and so is Kane. As individuals, there are great players, but as in a team game, individuals don't win you stuff. Like you're hoping for your individual to do something if you're just saying, right, the other 10 don't matter, it's all on you. But in football, teams win trophies, individuals don't.
Well, my argument to that is that in a sporting team or running any team, that you've got to manage a whole load of differing personalities. So if some people are more on the selfish spectrum than others, you've got to work out how to get the best out of everyone. But so
they perform as a team. That's the point. You're saying it yourself. They have to perform as a team. Like you can be solely selfish. You can be only thinking about yourself 100% of the time. I don't think it would work. But yeah, if you got the rest of the team to buy into that, it might do. I don't think the rest of the team buy into that. So therefore, Harry Kane, it doesn't really help him. I don't think Man City are full of selfish individuals, but they're all very good at their job. I just think you don't have to be selfish to be successful. And Harry Kane seems to be showing that he's a very selfish individual who only thinks about himself.
We've been saying selfish for about 10 minutes now. But yeah, Kane's just been a dick. Like he clearly wants to.
You break it down for us, Brendan. What did these say? I don't understand what they're going on about. Break it down. There's quotes from professors and all sorts of shit on this run sheet. You tell it like it is, sir.
It's one syllable.
It started off with his shitty interview with Gary Neville, which Flav from the Fighting Cock, who's a friend of the pod, brought up in that sort of fan zone with Gary Neville and Roy Keane and Carragher. Where he said he hated that interview and he called him out on it. And he said one of the many things wrong with that interview is that Kane set his price. He said, I think if an offer of 100 million comes in, then they should. And he doesn't get to set his price. The owning club sets his price, and so he's ever since then. We talk about social media. All his social media has been about England. His sort of wallpaper and his image are all England. He's gone about it in a dickish way. He could have been a lot more transparent and made the request. Man up. If you want to leave, make a transfer request. Sacrifice your loyalty bonus, which is the only reason why I can think he hasn't made an actual transfer request. He can cry all he wants on the last game at the last season. He can make stupid statements like he did, but he's been an absolute dick, and he's ruined his legacy by how he's behaved. The stadium showed him that. Like, we were shouting, "Are you watching Harry Kane?" Not to say, "Oh, up yours," but to say, "Look what you're leaving." Like, we're a bigger club than you. No one man is bigger than the club, and it was.
I thought you were talking about bigger than City. Definitely bigger than City.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful day. Yesterday's game was superb. But for me, for the atmosphere, I've been to over 100, maybe 120 games over the old stadium and the new one. Yesterday was by far the best atmosphere. And I went to a cup final in '99. It was the word that we actually won. But yesterday's feeling almost felt better than that. It almost felt like this is who we are. This is where we are.
I'll tell you what, if you had a ticket and you didn't go, and you could have gone, you missed out. It was wonderful, I have to say. Absolutely wonderful. Shannon.
I'll just ask a question.
Yeah, go on.
Back to Brendan, sorry. Luka Modric's last season at Tottenham, summer beforehand, he made it very clear, and it was very well clear and understood he wanted to go to Chelsea. Levy didn't do the deal. He didn't play the first 2 games of the season, and he came back in, and everyone cheered him to the rafters. So did you cheer him to the rafters when he was back in?
I was in Brazil at the time, but yeah, I get that. Like, he didn't go there. He was on Abramovich's yacht, and was on his way, and we held on to him.
To be fair, Harry Kane was in Joe Lewis's
resort,
resort by all accounts. So something doesn't smell right here.
He's really, the way he's gone about it. I mean, we're fickle. If he comes back and bangs in a hat trick against Watford next week, then we'll forget about it. But the way he's gone about it has just been proper dickish. Just grow up and own it. You sign the contract. You sort it out better than the way he's done. He's been despicable, and as has City with Guardiola openly talking about him in the press conferences. It's just been so poorly managed.
Yeah. Thanks for breaking it down in a language I can understand, Brendan. Shannon, we were singing. Obviously. Look what you're missing, basically, Harry Kane, as Brendan rightly pointed out. What are your thoughts on how Harry Kane will be feeling about that? Do you think that will really kind of hurt him? Are you watching Harry Kane?
I don't think it will, because Harry Kane only cares about Harry Kane. So he's really not going to give a shit if we like what we have to say about it. I mean, if the rumours are true and he was in the stadium yesterday, he was obviously kept out of sight, potentially for his own safety. Because imagine if people saw him in the stadium, straight away the chance would have been going. And yeah, but I think he's probably being sheltered from it a little bit. But I'd love to think that him hearing that would have affected him, but I just really don't. I don't think he has any respect for us anymore. I think if he had an ounce of respect for us, he would have had more to say, and he wouldn't have released a statement basically saying, "Oh, fans, I've given you everything for all these years and you're being mean to me on Twitter. Oh, please stop." Come on. Like, the guy is an absolute prick. I've lost all respect for him.
Yes, Chad.
He honestly, if he starts banging in goals next season, then fair enough, but he's never going to be loved the same. Not at all.
I'm going to throw this in there because I love a bit of controversy, as we'll know from last week, my guest selection. Craig says, Kane doesn't owe us anything. We haven't matched his ambition. Oosh. HG.
Well, I don't think the club has met our ambitions as well as fans. Let's be fair. He's not the only one. But, yeah, I mean, we all understand that Kane wants to go. So we know why. But, yeah, sorry, Kane. As we've said before, he doesn't get to set the price. Levy does, because he's got 3 years left. And that's his fault. That's not Levy's fault. he signed that deal willingly. And if he really thought there was going to be an out, he should have put it into the deal. He's basically just decided to take his toys home, you know?
Bren?
I've said my bit on Harry. Let's go to Dave.
I was avoiding that.
I thought HG had gone into a submarine from the echo that I was hearing from that one. We haven't met his ambition. Well, look, he's a once in a generation striker. He's probably the best striker I've ever seen at the club. Up there with Greaves. I'm not that old. I never saw him. We haven't matched his ambition by the fact that on the couple of occasions, or the occasion where we could have spent to go up to the next level with Poch, we didn't do it. We didn't spend across 3 different transfer windows, and we didn't refresh that squad. But on the other hand, in answer to that question, I don't know how many different semi-finals. I think he's played in 3 finals, a few semi-finals. He's never really turned up. So that's a two-way street as well.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. What's Daniel Levy thinking right now, Brendan? Do you think he's sat there? I will ask you this question in a minute, Dave. I can see you smirking. Daniel Levy, what do you think he's thinking? Do you think he's thinking after seeing that fantastic team performance? Do you think he's thinking, well, maybe actually we can manage without him and I can sell him? Do you think he'll change his mind on what we've seen so far?
He's thinking, how much money can I get? As he always thinks, and that's what's important here. It's not what he's thinking; it's what Manchester City are doing, and they're not doing what they should do. If they genuinely want Harry Kane, there's a bit of an echo, by the way, guys. If they genuinely want Harry Kane, show us the money. 160 to 200 million. That's what he's worth to us. So show up like that. Man City clearly need a striker. As did we yesterday as well. But Man City with a striker yesterday would probably have beaten us. They brought on Jesus afterwards. He half them puffed, but I'm glad that we're not going anywhere near him. But for Daniel Levy, he's got all the cards on his table. I think he's come out quite well in this as well, going by the dickish behaviour from the Kane camp and City. So I think that with him, he's just sitting there waiting for the money to come in, and unless it does, Kane will stay.
Dave, your thoughts on Mr. Levy?
Same as Brendan. He's got his price in his head. That's the price. Pay it or don't pay it, and everything else. He's just immovable to everything else. The noise, the lot, and that's what it's going to be.
HG, you were trying to say something there?
No, I mean, just the same. Like the idea that somehow Levy looks at the good guy is incredible. That just shows you how badly Kane has played. That whatever card he had, the fact he's played it as badly as he has shows just how bad it's been. Because Levy, let's face it, has done lots of things wrong in the last couple of years, if not longer than that. So, it's. I mean, I want the situation over. I suspect that City will have to stump things up. But based on what we saw yesterday, if anything, Kane's price tag has gone up by 10 to 15 million pounds. And if I'm Liverpool or Chelsea or Man United, I'm looking at yesterday's game thinking, I don't want Spurs to sell Kane. Is there any way that we can stop that from happening? Maybe we'll give Daniel some money on the slide to help pay the debts off, and that way Spurs get a bit of money and they don't have to sell Kane. Because it is one of those things. Like it's a massive decision for Manchester City's season. If they don't get a striker, they are probably screwed. They may. I mean, weirdly enough, because so many teams are quite strong this year, they might struggle to get the points they need for Champions League. Chelsea are really good this year. Man United are really good this year. Liverpool will be better. You'd hope that Spurs will be up there. Man City are a great side, but without a striker, you are making your life so much more difficult than it needs to be. And Kane is pretty much the only one that's available. So you'd think surely that City are going to have to stump up the cash.
126 people watching. Please batter that like button as much as you can. Stop what you're doing and hit the like button. Will we see him in a Spurs shirt again, Shan?
I don't know. I just think it's really weird. You go in the club shop, there's no pictures of Harry Kane, there's no Harry Kane shirts out. I think if he was really staying, there'd be something. He seems to have just disappeared. you've got Sonny, Højbjerg, and Jaffet, and I think they're the new poster boys of Tottenham. If I'm honest, I don't want him to go because it makes City better, and none of us want to see City do well this season, especially after that Dick Andy. But yeah, if we can take the money, I think Harry Kane. I've seen the comments, and I agree. He does slow down our attacks. When you've got the pace of Son, Bergwijn, and Lucas, you can play how we played against City, whereas Kane is so slow. I think I could run faster than Harry Kane, and that's saying something because I'm overweight and very, very unfit. But yeah, I don't think we'll see him in a Spurs shirt again. I think by the end of this week he'll be gone.
Dave,
which is a shame because I don't want to see City win anything.
Yeah, Dave, what are you saying?
Look, there's a history of coming back from all of this. So Wayne Rooney went off and flirted with Man City, who went and talked to him. That sounds familiar. Some of the Manx drove up from Surrey to stand outside his gates until he signed a new contract with United. Tevez disappeared for 3 or 4 months after he didn't come on, and he had that row with Mancini in the European game, and he came back and helped him win the trophy. Modric, he was on Abramovich's boat, then he jumped onto Joe Lewis's boat. So there's all a way back. Yeah, and then but the thing about Kane is against teams that like City, who are going to come and attack us at the lane, I'll call it the lane. Then that system yesterday works really well with pacey, interchangeable strikers. The challenge for us is that when the team comes to the lane and plays defensive and sits back, have we got enough to unlock the creativity? Don't forget, Kane got the most assists, most goals last year. There is a way back. It may happen.
HG, your view? Will we see Harry Kane in a shirt this season for Spurs?
Yeah. Thursday night against Passos.
I hope that comes to pass. By the way, that would be absolutely brilliant. I think. Would he be cup-tied then as well?
I don't think he is. It works upwards, not downwards. If that makes sense.
Levels.
So you can go if you go up. Yeah.
I'd love it.
Funny.
It's weird. Like we could easily just say to him, "Well, you've got to travel, and maybe you'll sit on the bench and not play." I mean, we could do lots of things, but Kane's still our player, and if he's fit, like jeopardizing a transfer we don't want is not a big deal for us. I mean, it might hurt City, but yeah, City are the ones who are nervous. They're the ones who should be nervous. Their season is on the line, not ours. So it's interesting, but Seeing Kane play at the stadium in front of 60,000 again, that is debatable. But the thing is, even if Kane does stay this season, next summer we're going to have the same deal because I genuinely don't think that Kane sees his long-term future at the club, and I don't blame him for that. If he thinks he can win, there's a better chance of winning something somewhere else, then fair enough. But it's going to be awkward. It's like a divorced couple staying together for the kids. It's just going to feel awkward, and I don't think the kids in this case, which would be the fans, I don't think many of them would be happy to see that happen. So, it's a difficult one. But Kane on Thursday night would be fun.
This is a great comment, by the way. 136 people watching now. Hit the like button, subscribe as well, please. Bren, it was very telling. There was no sign of Kane on the club's recent media day when all the squad had their photos taken for promotional purposes. What do you think about that? Is that a sign he's on his way? We won't see him again in a Spurs shirt?
Yeah, as Shannon was saying in the club shop as well, there's no pictures of him. There's nothing on social media. So yeah, it's clear he wants to leave. So that's why these things are happening. It just depends in terms of, to answer your question, will he be here after the window? Depends if City meet Levy's valuation. Levy holds the cards, so he may be asking for 200, which is that outlandish, really? When Neymar was 4 years ago was 220, and surely there were commercial benefits to him going there as well. But if they want him, they pay what we want. So it's awkward. Awkward's a good word that HG said there. It's awkward that if he does stay beyond the window, it will be awkward, especially with the fans after yesterday. It's up in the air. If they meet the valuation, he'll be here. If they don't, then he'll go. He will stay.
Okay. Dave, you're Mr. Optimism. I'm going to ask you this question. Are we dark horses this season? Not for the title, obviously. That would be too much to bear. But for possibly the top four?
Yeah, we're dark horses for the top four, no doubt. It does require Liverpool, Chelsea, or one of the main clubs to have a bad season for us to take advantage. That's kind of what's happened with us historically as well, when cities and Chelsea's have been in transitions. So it's possible, but we need to strengthen the squad still now in this window. If we do sell Kane and we're left scrambling around on deadline day for the equivalent of Fraser Campbell, that's just not good enough.
Had to get that in there, didn't you?
Of course I did. We still need to strengthen. If Kane stays, we need another striker. If Kane goes, we need two strikers. Yeah. Okay. I think that we probably need another midfield player. If Ndombele goes, or Winks, your trigger word goes, and we need to look at the right back situation as well. We get those in. We need the players to settle in quickly. They've not played in the Premier League before, almost all of them that we've signed. Then, yeah, we are dark horses. There is a chance. Is that optimistic enough for you in a monotonal way?
I mean, if you could just put a bit of spirit into it.
I'll work on that for next time, okay?
How high can your voice go?
Someone's brought up
in
the comments that Kane's chalky ankles. We can't ignore them. They take out 3 months of a season every season. So his dodgy ankles. Maybe it is time to cash in, but as long as we do get the money. Sorry to jump in.
No, Brent,
but that's what I said. That's what I've been arguing since the start of summer. I think we should sell him, but not now. If we're not, we're going to be scrambling around for replacements.
Hey, Shan, what are you saying? Sell?
Yeah, I think we need to sell him now. I don't want to see him go to City because ultimately it makes them better.
And makes Andy happy. That's the real reason, isn't it? You're thinking of Andy.
I'm still sort of looking around just to make sure he's
lurking.
He's not going to appear out of the bushes or something. But we can't be having Andy happy, can we?
No.
Shannon, quick question. So you're getting married. Will you be inviting Andy to the wedding?
Andy's the husband.
Yeah, he's going to be flower girl.
Great answer.
I think I was just a little bit sick in my mouth.
Right, Bren.
Yes.
Early days. We haven't learned anything really from the first weekend's action. It's too early to tell, but do you think the Goons will be safe with 37 points this year?
Oh, it is good. If when times are bad, and times aren't bad for us because we've just beaten the champions, but to see the shit show down the road is fantastic. And you knew they'd lose. I fully expected Brentford to win because Arsenal just bottled it. They don't have the fight. They don't have the determination to win. So I think they'll probably survive, but I'd say mid-table mediocrity is the most they can expect. It's the most they can hope for. So yeah, it is good to see their demise.
Dave, how happy are you to see Arteta still in charge of Arsenal?
Well, I think some monotonal depressive said 2 weeks on here that we'd finish 7th and behind Arsenal, and I think he's wearing a Ben Sherman shirt today. But anyway, it's beautiful to see. I love it. I love the way they fold. The Gooners are very quiet, and as long as Arteta stays in that job, the nightmare scenario is he get pinged and they get Conte in. We don't want that.
That's a brilliant comment. Hit the like button if you want Arteta to be given a new 5-year contract from Arsenal. I can't really get any better than that, can it? Absolutely. Shan, you're the last person Andy wants to bump into. I've never seen a man shrink in his chair quicker than him did when you told him off that night. Gaming Joy says, not a Spurs fan, but they look really good against Man City. Thank you very much. Well, maybe the door is open for you to becoming a Spurs fan. It's never too late for these things in life. You too can share in the misery and depression that has driven Dave to Australia to try and get away from it all. Transfer window coming up. 15 days left. Do you think we're going to shift the driftwood of Sissoko, Winks, etc. HG? Do you think that's likely now?
Yes, I live in hope. So I mean, it's weird because I feel like a lot of the links for selling players have died. We only hear now about the links for us buying players. It's only the Kane one that we've obviously talked about. But yeah, like I do think that they have some kind of plan and that they've got their dominoes in order and they're going to want to do it. And I think the question is, as long as the selling clubs or the people that we want to buy from us don't change the terms of the deal and say, hey, we want to pay less. I think that Sissoko has to go. I suspect Dombele will probably leave if it's only on loan. I think he might go as well. Aurier, if we can find someone to take him, will go. I could see Aurier doing a Danny Rose this year and being paid by Spurs to not play. I don't want to see that, but I could really see that happening. So we might struggle to shift the players we want to see because we've struggled for the last, two windows to shift those players out. We even struggled to shift Eriksen out, and he was really good. So I just feel that, I'm hopeful that the next 15 days, I keep on seeing, tweets from random people on Twitter saying, this week is the week, boys. It's all going to happen this week. I don't know. I want to see lots of changes. But yeah, it all depends on what we've got set up.
We need Ali Gold to go on holiday again, basically. Every time he goes on holiday, things happen. What do you think are our chances of shifting Harry Winks, Brendan? I just want to cheer myself up, really, on that one. He's going to go, isn't he? He doesn't look like he's in Nuno's plans at all. Please tell me he's going to go.
Yeah, it looks like. I mean, Sissoko does look the more likely. He's not featured in the squad. At least Winks has been involved slightly in pre-season. But shifting both of them, then we would need to look at bringing someone else in. I don't think Skip is enough to replace two central midfielders. So who are we going for? There were rumours of James Ward-Prowse. I can't see Southampton letting him go. I can't see him wanting to go. Just quickly on that, when HG said about Eriksen there, I watched the game with Rachel from the Supporters Trust. Big shout out to Rachel, huge fan of the Supporters Trust.
And shout out to Rachel.
She said that they do, like when they have the meetings with Daniel Levy, because I made a joke when they came on. Oh, why haven't you told Levy to sign Ronaldo, or whatever? But they do actually say to him, look, why haven't you signed anyone? So that period where there weren't any signings, she sort of gave me some information that I'm sure I can say on here, where Eriksen was waiting for an offer from Real Madrid, and this is from Levy's mouth. This is what Levy said. It didn't come, and he had offers elsewhere, but he didn't want to go. He was focused solely on Real Madrid. So for that's the thing with Eriksen, and also Alderweireld was expecting an offer to come in based on that clause, and an offer didn't come in. So I've just gone completely off piece there. What was the question?
Will we sell Harry Winks and make me really happy?
Okay, if you can.
I was loving it. To be honest, I was loving your tangent because you were sort of giving everyone some intel. So that's absolutely.
This is like they meet with Daniel Levy, like the supporters trust. They're there and they represent our supporters in an amazing way. We are so lucky to have such an amazing supporters trust, and big shout out to Rachel, Kat, Pete, and everyone. Harry Winks, fuck it. Like, go to Palace. Come on, they need players. They've lost half the team. Go to Palace. Come on.
Absolutely. Right, let's talk transfer rumours. So, Martinez, apparently negotiations are progressing. Where do we see the Martinez transfer as at, HG? Because obviously this one's been rumoured for a while, apparently a couple of weeks now. Apparently we've put a solid bid in for 60 million. Martinez camp is now making sounds about coming back to staying with Inter and sign a new contract. Where do you think this is going to pan out? We clearly want him, don't we?
I think we want him, and I suspect he wants us too. I think his agents are probably doing a better job than Charlie Kane has done by saying the right things in the press. Martinez has got 2 years left on his deal. If he doesn't sign a new one, Inter are going to want to sell him. If their financial situation is as bad as people are saying, they are going to want to sell him, and they're going to try and get as much out of us as they can. But if Martinez says, Spurs is where I want to go, which would be weird because he seems to be a very good player, but if we're the best option he has, like again, no, not many teams have money to spend. It's basically the only really in England that you can say we know these teams will spend because we know they've got more financial from TV rights and stuff behind them. I just think that if Martinez is interested in Spurs and we've got Lo Celso and we've got Romero already, it could happen. But I think it will be towards the end of the window when that one's done. I don't think Martinez is the one I'd want to replace Harry Kane. So it would be like if Kane stays, then Martinez could come in. Fair enough, but I don't think that's going to happen this week. That's going to be a last minute when all the dominoes have fallen kind of deal.
Does feel like that, doesn't it, Dave? Nothing gets done quickly in a Spurs transfer window, does it?
It certainly doesn't. Paulo Dybala, Martinho, even though
I've set you up for this one, really, haven't I?
Well, you have, haven't you? Look, I agree with HG. I think Martinez to me looks like more of the number 10, just playing off the main striker. Getting, he's a striker, but he's like your Bearsleys or your Sheringhams even. But it would be great to get him in. The attraction for him is obviously you've got the Celso and Romero, and obviously Brendan gets the opportunity to exhibit his South American accent about another player. And I think that at the end of the day, it would be good to get him in. But if we got him in, and Kane goes, we still need another striker. Winks, just to go back to your point, I would see if we can't shift Winks or Sissoko permanently, at least one of them will go out on loan. And if we get another midfielder, it's possible Ndombele could go out on loan, so get some of his wages off the thing. Aurier goes to the under-23s. Now, apparently, Danny Rose was really good with the under-23s last year, in all seriousness. He was a mentor to them. It's in the media. So
yeah, apparently, sorry, just to cut in. Apparently, Danny Rose went to see Spurs under-23s play against Chelsea tonight. I've seen a tweet. He was in the stadium.
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, there's social media. There's after he's left, he's done a speech to them on the pitch. I want to see Aurier doing that on as well. And the first lesson is to how to flounce out the stadium at half time after your coach has told you off.
There's just so many great Charlie Kane jokes around right now, isn't there? Shout out again, Paul. After you hit the like and subscribe button, put your best Charlie Kane joke in the comments section. We would love to hear them all and shout some of them out. Holly, good evening. I'm glad you're envious of the backdrop. By the way, there is a new flag on the backdrop today that they're giving out at the Spurs ground. Lovely. Brendan will demonstrate. Yeah. Forever be known as the flag that we beat City with. Paul Torres apparently has rejected Tottenham, if you can imagine such a thing. Shannon, is that one going to happen, do you think, Torres? I mean, is it paper talk that he's rejected? He wasn't in the squad for their last game, wasn't even on the bench. So there's a potential that should still happen. And I just need to do a welfare check and check that you are indeed okay. You were looking out the window, then you disappeared for 5 minutes. And I just want to make sure that you are all right.
Don't worry. Yeah, nothing too dodgy going on. Just had to quickly sort something, but yeah, I'm still here. The doors are locked. Well, I've just accidentally put my hazards on, which is not what we want.
That's a signal. Be careful.
Or the left indicator, right indicator. Which one? What does the left indicator mean? Oh, sorry.
I don't know, Brendan.
I mean,
you seem to know a lot about this, Brendan.
I can't say I'm an expert if I'm.
Okay. So, Pau Torres, do you know anything about this deal? Do you think that one's likely to happen?
You're talking to me, I'm assuming.
Shannon,
I don't know. So, Shannon, okay.
I don't know. I think if he's. I don't know. I don't see us making another centre-back signing that expensive. I think the one we look like we are going to do is Milenkovic, which is going to be great because it's going to piss off all the West Ham fans, and it's just makes it so much better.
By the way, is HG's favourite hobby, pissing off West Ham fans. So HG Milenkovic, would that make you happy?
For that reason, sure. I mean, it's not often that Spurs and West Ham go for the same players, and it's even less often that they choose West Ham. But I think that Milenkovic, I mean, having seen him play, he's a giant. He's about 6'4", 6'5". Doesn't look like he's particularly good on the ball, but he actually is. He just doesn't, he's a bit ungainly looking. almost like Souček at West Ham. You don't think there's a football player in there, but he's actually a really good one. So if Milinkovic chooses Spurs, then great, but he's another right-sided centre-back. The thing with Pau Torres is that he is left-footed. Pau Torres is very similar to the whole Jules Koundé thing, I think, where he's waiting for a better deal. And next summer, those deals may well be available with going to Real Madrid or Barcelona or wherever. This summer, Spurs are, I guess if you look at last season's table, the 7th biggest team in England. Both of those, I mean, Pau Torres is in the Champions League with Villarreal. It's not a move that I would be making if I was him. So I'd be surprised if that one happened. But Milinkovic is much more likely. And we saw it with Atalanta. We took 2 of their players. We may well do the same thing at Fiorentina and take Milinkovic and Vlahovic.
I mean, 80 million, Brendan, is a bargain for him, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I was just thinking, on Pau Torres, just a little sort of trivia for you. Pau is a Brazilian slang for penis. What was the question?
This is what you get on the cheese room. This is what you get on the cheese room. Education. Go on, HG.
Wait, so his name is Penis Towers. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Dick Towers.
Dick Towers.
And he's a big boy, apparently, as well. Quite tall. Let's get through some of these comments. Harry Kane's brother is in a new reality TV show. I'm a degenerate. Get me out of here. I'm going to ask you to rate these. Brent, rate that 1 out of 10.
Out of 10, 7.
Generous. Charlie Kane thought that Sherlock Holmes was a block of flats. Dave, what are we saying?
9. 9
out of 10.
Brilliant.
HG, Paul Muir, Charlie Kane thinks the clause is something to do with Christmas.
Absolutely. That's a good one. That's an 8, I think.
I'm absolutely loving these. Keep them coming. Shannon, Charlie Kane thinks a gentleman's agreement is legally binding.
Yeah.
It's got right 10, Cam.
That was
it all in, or
that was an accountant's joke. Is he an accountant? This guy, Nathan.
I'll take you not.
I mean,
is that not a 0?
That is almost too true to it be fun. I mean, it's too true for it to be funny,
realistic.
because Charlie Kane obviously does think that gentleman's agreement is legally binding, which is why his brother is in the mess.
Dave, Charlie Kane thinks Sheffield Wednesday is a bank holiday.
I'm giving that an 8.
That's a solid 8. I'm going to say that's a 9, but yeah. Brendan, Charlie Kane is the type of guy who'd revise for an IQ test and still fail.
That's a good one, yeah. That's an 8. I'll give it 8. 7.5.
This only works if you've seen his office and he's 3-piece. HG, Charlie Kane modelled his back office wall on a QR code.
Yeah, all the frames are, yours, caller, are all nicely set and organised. And Charlie Kane's was just like, well, I'm a bit taller today. I'll stick it here. And yeah, no, it's he's wearing his platforms again to make himself look taller. Yeah, that's a decent one. Yeah, I think the one we gave 9 to earlier is the best so far.
Well, there's more to come.
We're being harsh on Charlie. I think he's a glorified T-boy. Harry's making the decisions here. Let's not deflect from Harry the shit that he's done.
Brent, I want to read these out. Shannon, Charlie Kane was proud of himself at completing a Lego set in 12 months, despite the box saying 3 to 4 years on the side.
Oh, man.
I've just seen another one in the comments as well,
where
it says, "Why did Charlie Kane stare continuously at the orange juice carton?"
We're coming to it. Charlie Kane scans the reusable bag at the self-service checkout. Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Amsing says, I think he's just desperate for me to put his call up here, but show the comments more. There's some good comments on it. I mean, what do you think I'm doing? Thanks very much for the feedback.
That's the Russian dole of comments, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Charlie Kane thinks racism is about being prejudiced against Formula One drivers.
Very good.
I'm going. I'm lost. Dave, what are we saying?
What are we talking about now?
Score out of 10.
On that one, 9.5.
That's good.
Okay, I like this one. HG, Charlie Kane didn't ask for a release clause because he thought it was a brand of cologne.
It's either really funny or I don't get it. So 3.
I don't get it either. I don't get that one.
It's like eau de parfum release. No, I don't know. Sorry, Brandon. It's American humor. You lost me.
Brandon, we know you watch us all the time, and we appreciate you. But please explain that because we thought it was shit.
It's got to be an American clone.
Charlie, maybe it is, yeah. Charlie Kane, money is the game, and the Queen should make him a dame because he ain't got no game. I mean, I don't think that's quite on the same. We like the rap. We're all about the rap.
West side.
East side. Mother Hubbards. Charlie Kane got turned down by Daniel Lloyd.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I don't get that.
The idea is that Daniel Lloyd doesn't turn anyone down.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is she like that? Is she?
I think she was with Jamie O'Hara and a couple of other footballers. She was your wag of choice about 10, 15 years ago, I guess.
Got you. Charlie Kane once bought a bubble for a spirit level. Good.
I like
that. Why did Charlie Kane stare? Here you go, Shannon. Why did Charlie Kane stare continuously at the orange juice carton? Because it said concentrate.
So that is 10.
That's
10
my favourite. That's a 10. That is a 10 out of 10.
Right,
That's
that is
brilliant.
a 10 so far. Charlie Kane thinks a gentleman's agreement is something you discuss in men's toilets.
Surely Charlie Kane thinks whatever Harry Kane tells him to. Isn't that how it works?
Jesus Christ. Oh, there's some great ones here. There's some absolutely great ones. Charlie Kane thinks that white spirit is prejudiced against ethnic minorities with paint on their hands. Not so good. There you go. We love you, Charlie Kane. I think we do because he's given us like a never-ending stream of material, basically.
There is one more of the links that I've seen in the last few days I'd like to talk about. The one for Nahita Nandez, is it the Uruguayan?
I'm really glad you said that and not me.
Yeah, I'm probably saying it wrong, but he plays in Italy, like all of our links seem to. But he's a right-sided midfielder from what I've seen, which we don't play a 4-4-2. I don't know if maybe we want to try and turn him into a right back. I don't know, but he's not the biggest, but he's one of those that is a real terrier in midfield kind of players. So it'd be interesting to see if that one happens because, like, to me, the way that if you combine Levy and Paratici, you're looking at players in Italy who have 1 year left on their contract, right? I mean, that's basically what we should be expecting to sign. So I think Nandez might have some legs to it. I really do.
Just to shout out to our new director of football, Doff. Did you all see the clip of him going like shouting abuse? He was like getting proper animated during that game. Did you see that, Bren?
Yeah, I did. And Hitchin beside him.
Well, that was what I was going to come to. Hitchin, like, literally has been anonymous, like, hates January for like 2-3 years. And then all of a sudden, this Italian stallion storms the place and is, like, giving it, like, proper Italian swear words on the bench. And Hitchin springs into life. What's that all about?
Yeah, he looked a bit like the Richard Hammond to Paratici's Clarkson, just sort of like, oh, mate, he's so good, isn't he? Oh, like, no, it was funny to see him jumping around next to Paratici. Paratici clearly wears the trousers in that relationship. That sounded very sexist, sorry. But yeah, it was good to see the passion. It was a great day. It was quite funny to see. Why are they on the bench as well? They look like they're on the bench. Surely they
were in the players' area.
Yeah, is that normal for
not
recruitment?
normal.
If Kane doesn't go, then yes, they can sit there.
Not normal at all, HG, was it?
Well, no, but I think there was I saw one picture and there was a whole row of the Spurs players that weren't involved in the games. There was Rodon and Aurier and Dombele was there. I think Sessegnon was there. They all sat, I think, in front of where Hitchin and Paratici were. So there seems to be an area just to the side of the bench where there are seats available for members of the squad, let's say, or like liaison officers or whoever. But yeah, if they want to sit there, great. Like I like to see them getting involved because I mean, you want to think that they live the club too. They want to see the club be successful. And if you see them sitting up in the director's box with Levy, you probably don't get that impression. It definitely feels though as if wherever Paratici goes, Hitchin follows. Very much a double act where it's one more than the other.
Well, I had a shocking moment at the stadium on Sunday. I went over to the bar. I went to look. They've got Spirit and Premium Spirit on the bar, and I saw a bottle of Gordon's gin, and I thought for a moment that was the Premium Spirit. It scared the life out of me, but then thankfully I saw the Tanqueray, so I was happy. Slight tangent, but it just popped into my head. James Ward-Prowse, Shannon, how much would you like to see him in a Spurs shirt?
It's a funny one because I think we've got so many midfielders, but we are missing a set piece specialist. I can't remember the last time we scored a free kick that wasn't deflected. And that one was the Gareth Bale free kick that Vinicius tapped in the Europa League last season. I can't remember the last time we scored from a free kick. So I think there's definitely room for him in our squad, but I don't see him as a necessity. I just don't.
What are you saying about that, Dave?
I mean, it would be.
Sorry, Shan. Dave? What's your view?
I think it'd be good to get him in because I think he offers something a little bit different in the midfield. And as I said, I talked about earlier before, when teams come to the lane and they're going to sit back and we've got to break them down, we could use him then. But I really think if Southampton sell him, they are really signing their death warrant for this season. When they lost at the weekend, the new striker Armstrong got a goal, which is a good start for him. But they're going to struggle. And if they sell him, that would be foolish. He's got a lot of years left on his contract. Even if we offered Winks for him plus another 10 or 20 million, I don't think they'll go for it.
No one's going to fall into that trap where they sign Winks or the HG. That's the old hustle. Winks for James Ward-Prowse.
I still think it's going to be a lot of loans with the option to buys from everyone. Everyone's going to be hedging their bets. What will be interesting next year is if one team says, okay, yeah, we want to buy, but the player we've earmarked to sell to pay for it that isn't wanted by their new club. It's a weird one. But yeah, look, if we could maybe even say to Southampton here, look, we'll do the kind of Harry Kane type deal where we'll say, look, we'll take your best player, but we'll give you 2 or 3 of the ones we don't want in exchange. We can give him Rodon, we can give him Winks, we can give him Jack Clark, things like that. People that maybe aren't seen as being first team players right now. Why not?
I think Winks is ideal for Southampton as well. I've got to say, Brendan, do you not think he'd fit in like a glove there? Bit of a loser, relegation friend. And he passes sideways and backwards.
He needs a fresh start.
Craig agrees with me.
Sorry?
Craig agrees with me.
Craig, if he goes to Southampton, amazing. There's Palace as well. There's a few teams. Brentford even. If it's a loan, if it's a sell, he needs a fresh start. It's not working out. It's been a few years now that Winks hasn't really delivered. Maybe he does need to drop a division, but his future's not with us. So if someone comes in for him, we won't get much for him. If we get anything like maybe 10, 15, there were talks of Everton paying 25. It's way too much. Let's move him on. He's Tottenham through and through, etc., but just doesn't have the quality. I
can't believe this. 220 people watching, only 92 likes. That's shocking. Come on, guys, hit the like button. You've had quality entertainment tonight.
Maybe we need to get Andy back.
Yeah. No, people are hitting the thumbs down button. That's the problem. Right. Any other topics you guys want to cover? The run sheet's done. We're free to roam. HG, anything you want to get off your chest this week?
I think shouldn't we just open it to all the people watching? Send us your questions and we'll answer them happily.
You do that. I'm going to take a comfort break.
Okay. Look, I think that the game on Thursday night is actually a relatively important one. I know that it's a Europa Conference League and there are lots of Spurs fans who don't necessarily even want to be in the competition and would prefer it if we weren't. But I just think that, if we are going to have a younger squad, if we are going to put some faith in our youngsters, then they're going to need opportunities to play. People like Devine, the under-23 team apparently played really well tonight. I know they were losing to Chelsea, but they were playing well and dominating the game. These players, they need some first-team football. I don't think under-23 football really does it for anyone. So I'm all in on the Conference League, but if only for that reason. I'd like to see us progress. I'd like to see us maintain that winning mentality that we want to have. We've had, one of the top 5-6 most difficult games of the season already, and we won that one. So let's try and keep it going. It will be interesting to see just what Nuno wants to do. I'm really interested in this because it's an opportunity. We don't have to, like we did in the Champions League, where we basically had to play the same 14 every single game. We have an opportunity to be a bit more creative with what we can do. What do you think, Dave?
I'm not massively excited about the Conference League. Sorry, Phil Ambrose, but there was a time where there were 3 European club competitions. There was the Cup Winners' Cup. And so we are in the 3rd European Cup competition. What I would like to see is a squad rotation from the point of view of all the players in the first team squad who didn't play on the weekend. They get a run out. And the ones who I really want to see rested up for Wolves, like Son, like Højbjerg, we keep them off the pitch. I don't want them to play. We need to rotate. I think we can pull out a pretty strong squad. A pretty strong team. And then we can progress in the competition.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a couple of comments that the under-23s drew 2-2, and that we actually had a penalty saved in the last 5 minutes and probably could have won that game. So it's a good sign for the people that we're producing. Like I really think Alfie Devine is a player, and I know he's only 17, but I genuinely think that he's one that will be knocking in a year or two to being a real squad member. I don't know how many of them will do that, but good players who prove themselves in professional football bring in money. I mean, we see that with Chelsea. They loan players out and then they sell them on. Like, how much did Mark Guehi go to players for? Like 18 million? Like, if Spurs start getting that kind of system going where these players get opportunities to impress outside of the academy system, then it could be another way of bringing in money to the club.
Yeah, it's also a free swing as well. Sorry, jump in, because if we get knocked out, who gives a fuck? It's the Conference League, so it's kind of it's good for us to be able to showcase and bring in, like I said, the under-23s, some fringe players coming back from injuries, and not have the pressure. I wouldn't really bat an eyelid if we get knocked out. I know I'm doing the pods for the Conference League games, which I'm looking forward to. I'm scrambling to find guests. So, listeners, if there's anyone that wants to join me for the podcast after the Passos game, come and send me a message. But yeah, desperate. But yeah, the fact that it doesn't really matter if we get knocked out, I think that appeals to me as well for some strange reason.
What, getting knocked out?
Oh no, the not having the fear of getting knocked out. The fact that, like, well, who cares? Like that is a bit that we can bring in players. If we have a stinker or whatever, it's not like Europa. It's not like Champions League. It is a chance to bring players back from injury from the under-23s, as we were talking about. So
Brent,
I'm happy with it.
Brent, if you fear losing, you shouldn't be a Spurs fan.
Embrace it. Embrace losing. That's the thing. Embrace it. I'm not sure if you've done this one. If winning the Conference League brings a winning mentality for us to kick on, bring it on. Not even Man City have won this cup. Surely that's got to be the trophy we target this season, hasn't it, Shannon? I mean, I know it's Mickey Mouse, but I was looking at the prize money. It's only slightly less than the Europa League. So, and it's a chance. We've got a very good chance in it, I would think. Surely that's our given, isn't it? We've got to go for that.
I've said it before, but I think it's going to be a Spurs-Roma final, and then Jose's going to beat us in the final, but also get a red card and get sent off. I think that's what will happen. I'd love for us to win something, and I think if we're going to win anything, this will be it. But knowing Spurs, that's exactly what will happen. Jose Mourinho's Roma will turn up if he hasn't been sacked by then, and we'll probably lose in the final. Something will happen. He'll get angry, get sent to the stands, and yeah, it'll be one of those that you just couldn't make up, I think.
I think that comment there from Phil's absolutely spot on. Amazed at the contempt towards Conference League. Yes, we don't want to be in it, but a team that never wins trophies can't turn their noses up at a trophy we could win. I mean, we won the Audi Cup, Phil. Let's be fair. What did you say?
Intertoto Cup, wasn't that what we were after in the 90s as well? It's similar ground in my opinion, the Conference League. And maybe it's the name. Maybe the name's putting me off because it's got the word conference in there, and you just think GM Vauxhall beforehand. But it's for me. It's like I said. It's a pressureless tournament to be in until we get to the quarters and the semis. Then I'll pay more attention.
That's provided we don't get knocked out on Thursday night. So, just a quick predicted lineup for you guys. What do you think, Dave? The team's going to be likely to be on Thursday night. I don't think we're recording a preview, are we? Bren, did you cover it on the podcast? I'm not sure.
We covered it a little bit on the pod
briefly.
Yeah.
So you'll be familiar with this. And Dave, what you saying lineup wise?
We'll have Golini in goal. Funnily enough, Doherty right back, Rodon, maybe Ben Davis, and maybe we'll have to play Reguilon on the left. I'd have Winks, one of Skip or Højbjerg. Who else we got? Gil will play. I think maybe one of Bergwijn or Mora, and then you'd maybe stick Dane Scarlett up front instead of Sonny.
I'd love to see Dane Scarlett play 90. I'd absolutely love to see Dane Scarlett play 90 in a Spurs jersey.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. Sorry, Kane up top. I want Kane.
He's gone, mate. He's gone. Forget him. Bren, is that pretty similar to what you're predicting?
Yeah. It is a great opportunity to get fringe players in to show that they want to play in the Premier League or in one of the domestic competitions. That sounds about right to me. A good mix of young and coming back from injury and fringe players. So yeah, I'm behind Dave's team.
Yeah, absolutely. HG, anything to add?
I think I'd rather see us go strong in the first game. So maybe I'd make fewer changes to let see Lo Celso come in. Probably Doherty at right back, but I wouldn't make so many because if we win the game 2 or 3-0, then I would think that we can go to the next game at home the following week and then play a much more youthful side. But I know that away goals don't count anymore, but I still want to get the job done on Thursday night so we don't have to worry next week. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Like I think that we ended up playing the same team against Arsenal, against Man City. I think that there's probably something to keeping along those lines and making sure that everyone understands what's going on. Like if we don't get a good result on Thursday night, then I think all of us will be thinking, "Oh no, where are we again?" I want to keep the momentum. So, maybe I wouldn't make 11 changes, but it would be somewhere like maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, and Shannon, anything for you? Anything to add? Really? Would you similar sort of thing, similar lineup to the guys are suggesting?
Yeah, I think it'll be a bit of a mix. I don't think it'll be wholesale changes. I think Niall John could potentially come into the midfield. He was good in pre-season. I think definitely see Doherty and Davies play. Could potentially see Romero play just to get some of his minutes up, get his fitness there, so we can start integrating him to the sort of the Premier League squad. Dane Scarlett, I think, will 100% will probably play, but I think potentially Bergwijn and Lucas will play. Sonny, I think, deserves a rest. But yeah, I think it's hard to predict. We don't really know how seriously Nuno's going to take it. I think so. That makes it tough for us to guess who is going to play and who isn't.
Yeah, I think Shannon's got a bit of delay, Bren, but you're saying one game.
I don't think rest is the thing with Sonny. I think just don't travel. Like he's played one game. I don't think he needs a rest, but I don't think he needs to be involved in this game. So I agree with you there. Yeah,
same diff. And does anyone think Kane will actually go on Thursday or play for that matter? So, shout up panel. Do any of you think Kane, in fact, we'll just go around quickly because it's easier. HG, you thinking Kane might feature?
No. I think he'll say that he's not in the right frame of mind. Something along those lines.
Bren?
What was the question, sorry?
Will Kane feature Thursday? Yeah.
No, he won't play.
Dave?
If he doesn't go, then I kind of think from a negotiation point of view, Levy's then got to really sit it out for the rest of that transfer window and not accept any offer of a price. So he could go.
Shan? if Shannon's still with us.
I think it's a tough one. I think he'll travel, but my internet is shocking now. It seems to be going downhill. But yeah, I think he'll travel, but I don't know if he'll play or not.
I think what's happened is everyone's 22, 37 hours. I think everyone's hitting the internet right about now in where you are in the holiday village. So we're going to wrap up there anyway. To hour and a half, I think, is enough cheese for one day. So, guys, look, thanks very much for joining me, HG.
No problem, caller. See you again on Friday.
You will indeed. Bren?
Always a pleasure, mate. Good to see you guys.
When do you go back to Brazil, Bren?
8th of September. So I'm going to Dublin on Saturday for a week. Back, then I got a wedding, then back to Lisbon for 2 days. I'll hit up Sandra again. No, I won't. And then back to Brazil on the 8th.
You absolutely will hit up Sandra again. We all know that for a fact. Dave, thank you very much for joining us and getting up early again. I know it's a real pain in the arse, so I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I've just got to head off to my job. I teach speech therapy, so it's about teaching monotonal for everyone in Australia.
Oh, God help those people. And Shannon, unfortunately, I'll say goodbye on her behalf because either Andy's got her or the internet has gone down in Skeggy. So,
or Phil Mitchell.
Or Phil Mitchell, potentially. That is possible. So, look, Cheeseheads, thanks very much for joining us. Please do like this video, subscribe, share. There's a great new podcast out post-match. Oh, Shannon's back. Just in time to say goodbye, Shan.
I don't know how to get this so it doesn't play out of my car, so it's probably going to be awful, and you're all going to hear yourselves. But yeah, my internet just decided to completely go down the toilet there, and I couldn't hear anything that was going on.
Don't worry, we'll just say goodbye. So thanks. Look, the ultimate dedication is doing a video podcast from a car park. So look, I can't knock you at all. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So look, we've got a game on Thursday. We've got a guest on Friday. So let's be really nice to that guest in the cheese room. And I'm sure it'll be every bit as entertaining as Andy.
Yes, I do.
So in the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.